Hello everyone and welcome to another Python tutorial. In the previous lesson we learned about if, elif and else, and we built a simple password checker. But there was a problem with our program, and that is if the user entered the wrong password, the program would stop. But in the real world applications, users usually have more than one chance to try again. So the question arises, how can we repeat our program until the correct password is entered? The answer is loops, and today we will learn how to work with them. So let's get started. Loops in Python are used when we want to execute a command for a number of times or when something happens. And we have two types of loops, for and while, which both have different uses. And we want to get to know them later and use them to solve that problem in our program. Now we have two fixed items that don't need to be repeated. But the user input and conditions should be repeated as often as the user has a chance to type the password. For do this, we say for I in range 5 and out of that. Clone and we replace this code under this for. Let's run tab. Okay. Now you're saying to yourself, now what does this mean? Now what does this code mean? Now first of all we need to understand what a range means. Here we have two examples. When we say a range of 5, we mean from 1 to 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or when we say a range of 3, now we mean between 1 to 3, 1, 2, 3. And here is a more complete example. When we say for I in range 5, we are telling for each item in range 5 do something. For example, if we say range 5, it does it 5 times. Or if we say range 10, it does it 10 times. And so when we say for I in range 5, print hello world, it comes up and writes hello world for 5 times. Now in our program we say for I in range 5 do this work, means for 5 times get the user input, check this condition and show us the result. Now if I run a project, for the first time say enter your password, and if I say the wrong password and click on enter, say your password is wrong, but it doesn't finish the project, and again ask us for our password, and again I say another wrong password. That's the second time, third time, fourth time, and that's the last time. If I say another wrong password, finish the project and say your password is wrong. So now that we understand what the iteration loops with for means, it's time to learn about the while loops. But before that, I think it's good to say for has many other uses beside this one. And this loop model we just wrote with is not its only use, but you will learn those later. But now let's move on to working with the while loops. In general, we use while when the number of times is not very important to us. We want to specify an event so that it does a series of things when it happens or when it has not happened yet. We can do this using while, using booleans or other methods. But now I want to show you two of the main methods in a simple example. In the first example, we start by creating a variable called count, and we use this variable to keep track of how many times the loop runs. And then we write while count less than or equal to 3. This means that as long as count is less than or equal to 3, the code inside the loop will keep running. But if count becomes greater than 3, the loop will stop. And next we say print count. This simply prints the current value of count, and after that we have a count equals count plus 1. This means that every time the loops run, count increases by 1. So count starts at 1, then becomes 2, and then 3, and after that it becomes 4. Since 4 is greater than 3, the condition is no longer true, so the loop stops. In the next example, we are doing basically the same thing, but this time we are using a Boolean value. You might be thinking, why are we make things more complicated? But Boolean based loops are actually very useful when we want to keep something running continuously, or when we are working with process that need to run until certain condition happens. So in this piece of code, just like before, we first create a variable called count, but this time we also create another variable called run, and we set it to true. If you remember from the lesson where we talk about data types, I said that Boolean values are kind of like a light switch. True means the switch is on, and false means the switch is off. So here we set run to true because we want the loop to be running. And then we have while run. This means as long as run is true, keep doing the code inside the loop. In this loop, first we say print count to print the current value of count, and then we have if count greater than or equal to 3, set run to false. This means we are checking whether count has reached 3 or more. If it has, we change run to false. And remember, we said that the while loops keeps running as long as the run is true. So when run becomes false, the loop stops repeating. And finally, just like in the previous example, we have count equal count plus 1. This makes count increases by 1 every time the loop runs. Okay, now that we know what whiles mean, that's time to use that in our own project. At the first, because we want to use while instead of for, we should to cut this piece of code. Cut it. And delete this for. Okay. But before we use while, like that example, we should to make two variable. One of that is count, and we should set that 1, and another is run, we should set that true. Okay. Then that's time to use while. We say while run and come down, and we paste that code, we cut that. Okay. After that, like that example, we make one condition. We say if. Okay, if count greater than or equal to 5, come and make run false. Okay. And at the end we say, in every times you run this code, make count 1 plus 1. Okay. Now if I run this code, at the first say enter your password, I say one wrong password, another, that's third time, this is the fourth time, and that's the last time. If I say one wrong password, it says the password is wrong and won't ask again. So that's it for this video. We learned about for loops and while loops, but remember, loop can do a lot more than what we covered in this video. There are also other types of loops and many more useful things to learn, which we'll cover in the future video. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.